Biofeedback is the process of measuring or sensing a physiological response and feeding it back to the person, and then that person using it to stabilize balance of physiology so that we can understand our tension, our stress. Now we're sensing the body here. We're going to be using the body and we're going to be sensing it with our system of quantum biofeedback. Quantum biofeedback, we're not developing an awareness for you to change. The machine is trying to sculpt out and improve your body electric. So it's up to you to sense and measure the different responses. A different type of biofeedback, the normal type of biofeedback. A type of biofeedback built on your own inner awareness. And building your own inner awareness to come to grips and to change, to take responsibility for your health. That's what true biofeedback is. You can control your physiological response. You can lower your blood pressure. You can activate your energy. Today, we're talking about activating energy within the body. And we're going to be using a type of process, a simple acronym for you to try to remember. AWARE, aware. Become aware. Now this simple acronym, basically the first step, air, water, awareness, recognition, and effort, so that you can start to get your own biofeedback and start to build your awareness, and then have effort to change it. Air. We need to feel the need for oxygen exercise. Water. Recognize when you're thirsty. Awareness of your pains and numb areas. Not only the areas that you attend to, but the numb areas that you don't. Balance. Recognition of the messages from the body. And the effort and the will and the discipline to change, to find responsibility, to change that responsibility and become disciplined. We all need air, not just oxygen, we need air. There's other components in it. And how do we capture and deal with that? We all need water. We all need to understand when our bodies become thirsty. We need to be able to sense the energy, and today we're going to be building energy through the body. We're going to start with our need for air. Start with our need to breathe, stabilize. Here's a biofeedback lesson to get the most out of life. The most essential nutrient of life is air, and most people only get 25% of the available oxygen in their lungs. Most people just do chest breathing. We now need to teach them to do diaphragm breathing or belly breathing, to utilize the complete lung, to be able to utilize the diaphragm and the ribs. And if you can expand and focus and get the complete breath through the diaphragm and into the chest, into the sinuses, then all of life's processes will work better and health will be increased because you will charge up oxygen.
Belly breathing is deeper part of the lungs. The chest is the upper part of the lungs. That is deep breathing, and even within the head.
In the head, we have sinuses that can receive oxygen. These sinuses are actually cooling towers for the pineal gland. And with the pineal gaze, as you're breathing, you can intensify, because the sinuses are cooling towers for the pituitary, cooling towers for the hypothalamus, cooling towers for the limbic system of our emotions. So it's very important as we get all of the oxygen, we're starting to activate all of our system. The limbic system, stabilizing emotions, and activating the pineal gland, our third eye, which will increase melatonin and DMT through the body.
Belly, chest, head. That's the way it goes, like this. And letting go.
Now let's add some more parasympathetic juice to this. Inhale Stimulating the vagus nerve, belly goes out. Joyful smile, stimulating the facial nerve. Serene eyes, stimulating the oculomotor. And pleasurable exhale, stimulating the glossopharyngeal.
We can add alternate nostril breathing, but moving the spinal fluid and the brain fluid, circulating the cerebral spinal fluid is very important. You inhale, expand your chest, expand your stomach, belly breathe, get your neck, and goes back like this, your chin goes back, and when you exhale, curve down so that you get cerebral spinal from the cervical all the way down into the spinal and the sacral. Inhale and exhale and flux, and you will be moving the cerebral spinal fluid. It will be cleaning out the system, bringing nutrients, oxygen, and taking away impurities. To cycle the cerebral spinal fluid as you breathe with a little extra kick to it. So now we're activating oxygen and cleaning out the system throughout the entire body. The belly breathing will stimulate the vagus nerve. We're now stimulating the entire hormones to stabilize the entire body. The autonomic nervous system will become more balanced. All of the health processes, all of our biological processes will be improved. Now, we're going to be doing this for 10 to 30 breaths, 2-3 times a day. Relax, sit down. Feel the belly, the chest, the head, the sinuses. Use the pineal gaze. Stare at the center of the brow. Pull the head down to cycle the cerebral spinal fluid. Somewhere between 10 to 30 breaths. Exhale. And then exhale and hold it till you get a gas reflex. Then the breathing, this carbon dioxide will be balanced. Your adrenals will be balanced. You will become more alkaline, relaxed, creative, and healthy. You can also use alternate nostril breathing and learn how to do this so that can help to stabilize the brain to deal with trauma, stress, and other factors, as well as doing cross-crawl technique to help stabilize both sides of the brain. Now you're going to be getting full oxygenation. You're going to be getting oxygen throughout the whole system, moving the cerebral spinal fluid, using cross-crawl technique for both sides of the brain, and you now are developing a quantum biofeedback system to be able to maximize health and get feedback into your body. Now you learned about breathing and air. Now let's talk about water and thirst.
Every time that you sweat, you digest your food, or even breathe, you're really losing water. So you have to replace it. But many studies show that kids aren't drinking enough water. So what's up with that? Because you have to have it.
I'm Dr. John Torres, an emergency physician and the NBC medical correspondent. Hydration means that you're getting fluid into your body. The majority of what we have inside of us is water, and we need that water in order to survive. You have to get that from external sources, meaning you have to drink it.
Yes, water is the essential nutrient, and it does so many things for us. So many things within our body that depend on water.
Once you drink it, it goes into your intestine, goes into your guts, and from there it goes into the body, into all the cells. Once it gets done with the cells, it goes through our bloodstream and gets filtered out through our kidneys.
So exactly how much do you need? Just remember the number 8.
9 years old and above need 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day. This is an 8-ounce glass. It's a very normal amount of water.
It isn't just water we need minerals, and sometimes RO water takes out the minerals. Distilled water takes out the minerals. We need to get minerals in the water to replace the electrolytes and to deal with all the other different problems. We need minerals in our water for us to properly be healthy.
Every cell in your body uses water to function. If it can't get that water, that cell is going to start shrinking. It's not going to work as well. And this includes your brain cells. So what's going to happen is you're going to start getting confused. You're going to start getting a headache. Your muscles aren't going to work as well. You might even start cramping up a little bit. As you get more dehydrated, that's going to get worse and worse. If you get too dehydrated, you can get in a world of hurt.
To really get minerals into our water, we might use lemon, cucumber, other natural agents to help bring that to life, strawberry, other things, to help get the minerals into our water that we need for life.
The way to know if you're dehydrated is to wait until you're thirsty, because by then you're already dehydrated. One of the things you can do as you're walking around is just pinch the skin on the back of your hand. If when you pinch it and let go, it goes flat, then you're fine. That means you're perfectly hydrated.
All right, well, it looks like I'm doing pretty well. How about you? There's something else that you can do, and it's actually the most reliable. Just listen to this.
Look at your pee next time you go to the bathroom. If it's really dark, I'll give you some examples here, that means you're dehydrated. So the pee gets darker because it's more concentrated, and that means that you need more fluids. If it's kind of middle of the road, that means you're doing okay. You might want to push a little bit more fluids, drink another glass or two to make sure that you get it down to the point where it's this light yellow, and that's what you want, because that means you're perfectly hydrated, you're right exactly where you need to be.
Chamomile tea, very rich in lithium, or the richest food source of lithium. And it has other minerals in it as well. And alfalfa is nature's poor man's vitamin, full of minerals. So now we've learned about some of the ideas of getting water into our bodies. Now the next step, awareness. We want to become aware. We want to be able to recognize our awareness and how to build energy, how to increase energy, how to become aware of our different body. And we're going to talk today about increasing energy and building awareness of our endocrine system, building awareness of the limbic system, the hypothalamus, pineal, pituitary, thymus, adrenal, thyroid. Yes, all of our hormones, all of the different endocrine glands. So we become aware, recognize, and learn what effort to do, to change, take responsibility. We are teaching you to use your own biofeedback awareness to understand that you could correct the hormone imbalance affecting your emotions. This is something you can do. You can become aware of the hormone glands in your body and how to work with them. We're talking now about the pineal gland. And the pineal gland, located up here behind the eye, known as our third eye. And it's important for us to be able to wake it up. There's some ways we're going to be talking about to awaken the third eye, to increase clarity, concentration. The third eye is known as the pineal gland.
Actually, it's located in the middle down here, and it correlates to what we call the third eye. You can't see the third eye, but it's what we call the sixth sense. That means that it's seeing beyond what the five senses see. And what's happened is that, I mean, this is a secret that they've known in ancient Egypt. They know it in the Vatican. Everywhere you go in the Vatican, you see this pine.
Right, and no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
Another thing to take care of this, we're going to be talking about 6 tips. So the first tip is to avoid fluorine. Avoid that in your tap water that has fluorine.
Many ancient esoteric traditions and mystical schools knew of the potential of the pineal. The ancient Greeks believed it to be our connection to the realms of thought. Buddhists know it as a symbol of spiritual awakening. In Hinduism, the pineal connects with the third eye chakra, the seat of intuition and clairvoyance.
Try sun gazing. Stare at the sun, not directly, but try to get that light into your eyes. 15 minutes at the beginning of the day.
Claim that the eye is the lamp of the body. So then if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. If Rene Descartes is right, and the pineal gland is indeed the seat of the human soul, then these traditions are correct in believing that it serves as the connecting link between the physical and spiritual worlds.
So this technique will be done in 2 phases. The first phase, for the first 20 seconds, we're going to stimulate right in the center of the thumb. We're going to pinch it, pinch both sides, pinch it hard together, back and forth, pinch and release. Good, for about 20 seconds. Keep doing it. Some of you may feel some changes as you do this back in the nasal region.
Avoid all synthetic and processed foods. Clean up your diet and supplement your diet. Cilantro, seaweed, garlic, honey. These are fuel for the pineal gland.
Okay. Now, after 20 seconds, you're going to take these same 2 fingers, and I want you to squeeze the side part of the nail bed, just like this. You're going to squeeze it together, just like this. Okay, you're going to squeeze it, and you're going to hold that point.
Learn to meditate, chant regularly. Use the pineal gaze Look up into the forehead with both eyes.
You're going to hold it anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And as you hold it, right now I'm starting to feel changes behind my nasal area. I feel it opening up. I can feel my sinuses open up. I can feel myself breathing better, but I'm feeling pressure relieving back in my sinus area.
Certain essential oils can also be very, very good to help stimulate the pineal. Lavender, sandalwood, frankincense, parsley.
This is stimulating the pituitary gland right now. Many people will get different symptoms. Some of you may feel a surge of energy, clarity, more focus. You may feel that you can breathe better. You feel more connected with yourself.
And yes, even crystals, indigo, violet, dark crystals. These things can also help stimulate pineal. Now we're trying to develop our biofeedback awareness, and the hypothalamus, this is the key spot above the pineal gland that helps to regulate everything through the pituitary. The hypothalamus is so involved in basically regulating all of our desires, everything that we're drawn away from or drawn towards, to help us stabilize the body. If you become aware and increase your awareness, your own true biofeedback, and the machine will help you, because we're giving you treatment now through different ElectroCeuticals. And now we're going to discuss the thyroid, the powers of the thyroid gland, because this also helps to affect emotions, and this is an important gland in regulating energy. We're talking about increasing energy today, increasing your energy. It's going to start with an awareness of the thyroid gland to make sure we're getting that energy from the thyroid. We've got to defeat fatigue and the weight gain and bulging eyes, the irregularities of the thyroid gland. And here we're going to be able to use cold processed walnut oil, a couple of drops before bed, massage into the thyroid. It helps to wake up that thyroid and wake up and recognize that the pituitary gland is in charge of that thyroid. So we want to get into the feedback loop. And a cold processed oil, that walnut oil, really help to work with the thyroid and to bring it back into health. Become aware of the energy in the neck, that chakra area of the neck. Red onion juice can also be used. But here's a nice little tip to take coriander and make a nice little drink. Crush up the coriander seeds. Don't use too violent a process. Crush them up slowly. This will help to free up the different nutrients. If you use the mixer, it's too hot. But you want to be able to crush them up and then store them for use later. Mix them in with water. Keep it overnight. Let it soak. Boil it at a low flame. Help to separate it till it gets down, and the vital nutrients will all be there. Strain off the seeds, and you take this and drink this in the morning. Let it wake up the intestine. Don't have anything else for 30 minutes, and then have your breakfast. This will really help clean out all the problems of the thyroid and regulate it. Make it clean and working, and take your energy level up to the moon. So what we're talking about today is biofeedback for energy. Walnut oil massage, coriander seed, very important. Now let's talk about a couple of yoga poses. Here we have a breathing exercise. Make the sound of Om very slowly. Move the head back and forth. Stimulate. Ra, ma, ro, throw. All sounds for the thyroid. Ra, ma, ro, throw. Make those sounds. Mantra. Helps the thyroid, push the thyroid. Very important. Another yoga pose that we are able to use is 5 minutes holding the breath and now doing a bellows breathing. Doing the bellows breathing to help to get the S. Now hold the breath. Hold the breath. exhale through the left nostril. Develop the alternate nostril breathing, working to help stabilize the thyroid. It's very important holding the breath so that that carbon dioxide will get oxygen to cross it into the brain through the blood-brain barrier. So holding the breath, very, very powerful after doing some of the bellows. And now the lion pose. The lion pose. Stretch all the muscles of your mouth, stick your tongue out as hard as you can. Hold it 30 seconds. Hold it, hold it. This will energize blood into the sinuses, into the throat, into the thymus. And these little exercises will help the thyroid to make sure that we can activate the energy, to working with the thyroid, increasing our energy through a biofeedback. So when we feel low, we have that biofeedback mechanism to do this. Other things that we need to know for the thyroid is to avoid the ionized salt, because there's too many problems with that. We want to get the natural version of the rock salt, the sea salt, the Himalayan salt. We want to be able to recognize that we avoid the tea and coffee. There's too much tannin that will hurt the thyroid. Also recognize, avoid all the processed food. Avoid those things. It's terrible, terrible food. Avoid those things. Cabbage, beans, nuts, cauliflower, very good, but they're better cooked. Avoid them raw. Especially avoid the red cabbage. That will weaken the thyroid. Avoid the red cabbage. Red cabbage and collard greens can weaken the thyroid. And we're going to be sensing how we can find our own true biofeedback when our energy is getting low. So we can find ways to build up our energy with our own biofeedback. We're being stimulated through the machine. Now we're going into the thymus. The thymus at birth is the largest gland of the body, and it just doesn't change its size. As you grow up around it. But the thymus will atrophy due to stress if you don't handle the stress. Now recognize that the thymus tap, this is what Tarzan does, the thymus tap. That thymus tap really pushes energy into the body, awakens the thymus, awakens the immune system, awakens the brain. The thymus, when it's depressed because of stress and tension and troubles and concerns, it will then take your immune system down, take your whole energy down. And we want to stimulate that thymus and recognize that the thymus tap, a little bit of song, a little bit of just like Tarzan pounding the chest, the thymus tap. It really works to bring energy into the body and waken up the mind.
With a common denominator.
It has what they call the suprasternal notch. So let's find that suprasternal notch. Come down from your neck, right in the middle, and you'll feel a notch, like a little U, and your finger will sink right into it. Well, that is the top part of the manubrium of the sternal region.
This exercise will help the thymus, but it also would start energy into the brain to stabilize the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves that exist behind the chest area there.
We're going to be concerned today is stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. This is going to increase oxygen to the brain to increase alertness. It's going to allow our sight, our hearing, and other senses to become sharper. This is what's going to allow nutrients to flood into the bloodstream.
Stabilizing the endocrine system is very important, but also stabilizing the sympathetic, parasympathetic, the different autonomic nervous systems. Very, very important.
Your sternum. The pinky side will go against your sternum right below the suprasternal notch. I'll take this hand and I'll tap it firmly. 1, 2. That's it.
And now a key place, the adrenal glands. Because so many of us get weak adrenals called hypoadrenia. Our whole life energy gets weak because we need to stimulate the adrenal gland.
You're going to put your fingers with your middle finger in your belly button.
and you're going to come out about 1 inch. Then you're going to move up about 1 inch as well. So for those of you who are working in the more new system, then it's about 2.5 centimeters from the belly button and 2.5 centimeters up. From here, you're just going to go in. Now, for some of us, we have a fair bit of flesh here. For other people, they might be a little trimmer. But you're going to go in until you feel some kind of resistance. So you want your tummy muscles to actually be quite relaxed here. If you're really engaging those abs at this point, then you're going to actually just be working the muscle instead of going into the reflex point for the adrenal glands. So you're going to come in until you feel some kind of resistance, and from that place, you're going to make circles and massaging this area. We're working with neurolymphatic reflex points, and usually with those we go in as deep and as hard as we can. But actually with these adrenal ones, it's very important that we meet them where they're at.
The adrenal glands, where we get our adrenaline from, sits here on the kidney. We have 2 of them on different sides of the kidney. And these are very, very important to produce the adrenaline that we need. There's so many things. The adrenal glands can actually make any of the hormones whenever we need them. They're key part of our entire life process. We can see that the massage of the adrenal gland from the front might be able to get there, but actually it's pretty difficult. There's an awful lot of organs to reach through. It's better that we do an adrenal stimulation from the back. And we're going to teach you the adrenal tap. Just setting down, you need to reach your hands into the back, tap lightly on the adrenal spots about 25-30 times.
We also have points on the back in exactly the same place. So you could put your hands on the spine in line with the belly button, come out 2.5 centimeters, go up 2.5 centimeters, and massage them there as well in exactly the same way. And it's a really great way to start helping your adrenal glands to relax and release some of that excess energy that they hold.
1, the holding your breath test. Now, one good indication of adrenal fatigue is the ability to hold your breath for long periods of time.
Holding the breath is an indication of an awful lot of different functions, and also an indication of the adrenal function. If you can hold the breath for more than a minute, it's an indicator that your adrenals are more healthy. And the longer you can hold the breath, the better it will be for the entire body. Because that carbon dioxide will then, as it builds up and you hold the breath, it will be detected by the body and thereby allow oxygen to go into the brain. So we want to recognize, we want to be able to bring in oxygen, but also be able to hold the breath. And by holding the breath, we will stimulate the energy of the body a little bit more. Just once or twice a day, holding the breath to make sure we get more oxygen into the brain. So every day, do a little holding the breath.
And so if you have really good adrenals, you can hold your breath for like a minute or longer.
We measure the blood pressure sitting then standing. We also get an indication of whether the adrenal. We should not have too much of a drop, but we can also see the adrenal from the eyes and the reaction to light.
Shine the light into the eye. The small little pupil should get smaller and maintain that smallness by keeping the light held steady. If it starts to get weak and start to open up, which a lot of times it will within about, 10 to 15 seconds, then we know the adrenals are weak because the entire nervous system that controls that is weak.
It's very important for us to understand the need to eat whole plant foods for the fiber. This will feed our gut microbiome, the bacteria, to make the chemicals we need for brain activity. It's very important that we get the fiber, plant fiber, and get that into our diet every day so we can make the proper hormones inside our gut to feed the brain and stabilize all of life. You get everything working, all the different hormones. It's very important that we understand to not eat for emotional reasons, because the gallbladder sends out a hormone after eating. And it's very important for us to realize we need to eat for nutrition, not for stimulation. and to stabilize the gallbladder so that we can get proper hypothalamus satiation, not through emotional eating, but through eating the plant fiber and getting the body stabilized. And finally, our biofeedback will develop on compassion and contemplation to be able to recognize inside when there's turmoil, and feedback loop to be able to relax and still the mind and come to a oneness of understanding. Stabilizing the body, turning on all the different energy systems. Now for the rest of this biofeedback session, use your internal awareness. Feel the tension in the muscles. If you're too tense, relax them. If you're too weak, energize them. Feel the body. Feel the energy. Let the energy build. Let the energy escalate, elevate. Feel the energy building in the body. And focus on becoming aware, recognizing, and learning the effort and the willpower to change, take responsibility,